Hiya, and welcome to the first of a quick series of videos on Legato. I don't want to talk too long, I don't want to go into too much detail, so I'll get straight to the point. There's a series of quick tips I'm going to give on Legato, and tip one is left and right hand muting when playing. So for instance, you don't want to sound like this. Okay, so to deal with that you need a little bit of palm muting between the bridge pickup and the bridge itself. Just a little bit, very light touch, not too much at all. Then what you need to do with your left hand is, if you're fretting say the 4th string, or beg your pardon, G string 4th fret that. Got it there. Now if you watch, I'm going to stub my index against the string above, which is the G string. So if I play the D string and the G string together, you could only hear the G string. At this point, if I strum all 4 of these top strings, you can hear the 2 top strings ringing. So to deal with that, what you do is flatten your hand a little bit. So instead of having this arched classical position, you've got quite a flat finger like that, but you're still stubbed against the one in front. Now, if I hit all 4 of these top strings together with a little bit of luck, although you can hear the percussive attack of the D string, the B string and the E string, the only note you can hear being fretted is the one on the 4th fret on the G string, which is the one we're intending to be fretted. Okay, second tip is when you're moving up and down in the legato pattern, it's to keep your finger anchored. So for example, in this pattern, I'm going to move through this shape, which is 4, 5, 7, and this shape, which is 5, 7, 9. And the way that I'm going to move through it is constantly keep my index finger fretted. I'll slide it up to there and down like that. That's the only movement my index is going to make, and it remains stubbed against the D, and it remains flattened against the B and the E as well. So that pattern looks like this. And if you're watching that clearly, that was a very good example of why you mute, because when I did that I accidentally clipped the D string at one point with my little finger. But because the string was being muted a little bit by my right and a lot by my left, you didn't hear it at all. So that's the essence when you're moving around with legato, to keep that muting in place and keep some form of anchoring. Last tip I'm going to give you today for legato is evenness. A lot of people, when I hear them play legato, just tend to lose focus on the beat and play a lot of notes very, very, very fast in a blur. And it's out of time. At the time you may think that you're being, Joe Satriani, rock god, etc. But if you listen back to it and you've recorded it, it actually just sounds terrible, to be honest, absolutely terrible. So what you need to do is make sure you're playing a subdivision of time and know what subdivision you're playing. So for example, if I put a metronome on, like that, I know what I'm going to play, which is at all times, I know what subdivision I'm playing. And if I do that, it sounds much better, it sounds in time, it sounds fluid, and it sounds good. And you want to practice licks like that. So for example, the quick lick legato lick of the day that I'm going to show you shows the pattern I've just been doing, which is a full roll, that's called, on the 4, 5, 7. Then I'll go up to the 5, 7, 9, like that. Then I'll do the whole pattern again, but starting from 7th fret on the B string, which would be. Then I'll play 8, 10, 12 on the E string, full roll, slide up to 15, bend 14 to 15, and put a blues ending on, which is. So that would be 12, 15, 12, 15 bend to 17, hit the 15 here, and then the 15 on the B string again, like that. So slowly, when you put the lick together, it's. a little bit quicker, it sounds like that. Okay, the last thing I actually want to mention about legato today is the fact that this lick here was starting with my index finger. But if you truly want to be proficient in legato and truly want to be able to shred all over the fretboard, which I know a lot of you guys do want to do, then it's key not just to practice patterns that begin with your index finger, because then you're playing somewhere up here, you're playing that, and you want to go legato, and you're like, oh, where do I go? Oh shit, I'm lost. So what you need to do at that point, oh well, at a point far previous, is learn legato patterns off each of your fingers. So your index, your middle, your ring, and your little finger. You've got to be able to start legato licks off each of those, and then move through the scale shapes. So in the next video that I'm going to do, we will focus on visualization of scale shapes, and I'll show you a legato line that starts with the middle finger instead of with the index. Alright, thanks for watching.